Welcome to the Bourbon Friday Show. We're talking business and bourbon. I'm your host, Nick Niehaus, and today I'm talking to Anatolij Gelimson, who's the CTO of FastDemocracy. So Anatolij, thanks for joining me.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited to talk about this. So let's just start with a quick summary. Tell me about FastDemocracy.
Yes, so FastDemocracy is a legislative analytics platform that you can use in order to know what's going on in Congress, but also in all 50 states.
Oh, wow.
And you can also know when to take action. You'll get analytics to make sure that you know how did the votes go down previously, or what are similar bills, what was the different bill language that was there. So yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So I can see a lot of applications I can imagine for this. So obviously for someone who's just individually politically active, I mean, they're kind of curious. I mean, that sounds like, you know, they could certainly benefit from it. But who are some of the more serious customers that you work with?
Yes. So we have customers from all over this legislative lobbying space. And I know lobbying sounds like a dirty word, but it is actually, everybody who wants to make their voices heard with the government and say that they approve or disapprove of something.
Sure.
They have to register as lobbyists, believe it or not. Anybody who's trying to affect positive change is a lobbyist. So lobbyists, our customers are lobbyists in this very general term. So they include nonprofits of various kinds. They include your classic lobbying firms that would have multiple customers that they do, and those lobbying firms do the legislative work for those business clients then. So businesses, nonprofits, trade associations, there are so many different actors in this legislative field, but also actually we'll have a legislator who is using it to inform their constituents about what is going on. So,
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's
interesting. So even the people that are involved in the decisions are still using the data.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, our system is better than what they are using, so it's more timely, it has more information, it has a lot of things that they wouldn't have access to otherwise.
Wow.
So,
I mean, it's not surprising. It's the government, right? The government's never efficient.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that makes sense. Well, I think your point is interesting about lobbying, because you're right. I mean, a lot of people hear the word lobbying or lobbyists and they're just like, oh, that's automatically bad, right? But it's all sides, right? So things that you might not like have lobbyists, and then a lot of things you do support and like also have lobbyists, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me, like, let's talk about maybe a case study or an example. So in particular, maybe let's talk about like the nonprofits or the lobbyists people might like, what are some of the things that they're able to use FastDemocracy to track, or what's some of the data they're able to get access to?
Yeah, sure. So let's highlight, for example, one of our customers, Promo. It's a statewide LGBT organization in Missouri. So they are a lobbyist, and they do a lot of great work in this state for LGBT rights. So they are using it in many ways. So they get instant alerts. So there are some bills that touch on the topic of LGBT rights, non-discrimination. So they are interested in those things. So they can sign up. They select topics that they care about. They select bills that they care about, and then they can essentially do their research and see how did people vote previously on similar bills. What similar bills are there popping up nationwide? What similar bills were there in Missouri? What did get amended to what? So we are giving them all this information that essentially helps them get the best legislative strategy. And one of our strengths in addition to this is that we also have a free version. So their volunteers can subscribe to their bills and also get information when hearings are coming up, when events that are interesting to them will come up, and when they need to take action. So they can really reach out. They can say to their members, contact your legislator now, or things like this. So,
all right, that's awesome. Yeah, I can see how that would be very useful, because obviously, people that want to advocate, or I feel like in the past few years I've seen a lot more of a push to actually calling your congressman and stuff like that, right? But doing it at the right moment is a big part of it, right? So if you're calling them and they're not making that decision for 6 more months, probably not going to have a big influence, versus they're going to go in and vote in a couple of days. So.
Yeah, and normally it's actually the other way around. So normally people learn about bad legislation typically when the legislation is in its final stages,
right, yeah,
or when it already passed.
Yeah,
so this happens again and again. And I mean, to some extent, this is also understandable. So take Missouri, for example. Each year, around 2,000 bills get filed, and they move around all the time, and it's very hard to keep track of them, and most of them will not become law.
Sure.
It's only a small fraction that becomes law. So if you just rely on news media to report on those bills, they oftentimes only report in the final stages, just because there are so many bills, and you can't write 2,000 articles every few weeks on bills. Yeah.
Well, it's great. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? So a lot of times, if you're dedicated and interested and you want to support something, by the time you can get involved, it might be too late. So
exactly. Yeah.
So you mentioned, that even some of the legislators are using you, right? So which is interesting. So where are you getting the data? I mean, how are you pulling together all this information that sounds like the government doesn't even have organized in some cases?
Yeah, I mean, the information comes directly from the legislative website. So it's Legislative Information Services that are nonpartisan, and they have that data on the websites. The problem is that, if your question is, can you get that same information just by visiting the legislative websites? Yes, you can. Will you be spending
you got a couple days to find it?
Yeah, and then after you find it, you'll have to repeat the whole thing all over again, because bills move, bills get amended, bills get scheduled for hearings. So you need a system that informs you in a timely manner and provides you the insights you need. And state governments also have this tendency of borrowing valuable information in PDF files.
Sure.
And so, for example, in many states, if you want to see how your legislators have voted, without FastDemocracy, have fun reading PDF files from the Daily Journal from 2015, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
Yeah.
So,
not interested in that,
not
right?
gonna happen. And the most likely thing for you as a person is that you're just not gonna do it. And if you don't do it, then you're missing out on opportunities to act. And we want to make sure that you have all the insights you need to be your most effective when making your voice heard.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think that's, there's a lot of business models nowadays that are focused on giving people their time back, right? So I mean, that gets talked a lot, where if you can eliminate or significantly reduce the amount of time somebody has to invest in accomplishing something, they're much more likely to do it, right? I think it makes a ton of sense, because really it's like with the internet, any information you could ever want is out there, and now it's all about, consolidating and making it easy and giving somebody just what they're looking for, right? And if you think about like Google, that's all Google ever did, and they're one of the biggest companies in the world as a result, right? So very cool. Okay, well, so tell me a little bit about if somebody is looking to participate, right? They want to get this information. You gave me two versions, right? So there's the free version and the paid version. What are they getting in the free version versus the paid? If you want to talk about that a little.
Yes, so the free version is intended more for people like you and me, for people who want to stay informed on what the governments are doing, who want to see voting records, who want to get updates on bills that are interesting to them. But those updates would come either once a day or once a week, depending on what you select for the subscription. Contrast that with someone who is like a nonprofit or a lobbyist and who is in the building a fair amount of their time during session. So those people will want on-time information.
Okay, sure.
They will want to have things immediately.
Yeah.
within a few minutes of something happening. This is what Fast Democracy Professional does. But then also the other thing that Fast Democracy Professional does is it allows you to collaborate with colleagues.
Okay.
It allows you to have subscribable bill lists and reach out to volunteers so they can be up to date on your legislation. And it also gives some analytics, especially this bill similarity detection that you can then use to quickly find out if some amendments that is interesting to you is about to come up, or if bills like this have been introduced in other states. So
very cool. So it sounds like it really helps you plan and coordinate, right?
Exactly.
So how you're going to kind of attack the problem. So well, that's awesome. I guess that's very useful. So if somebody, let's talk about the paid version in particular, because I mean that's the one obviously you're trying to push the most, I would assume, right? If an organization is looking to sign up for that, is it one standard price? Are there multiple prices? And then how do they go about registering?
Yes. So the professional version is $1,500 per state per year.
Okay.
Or for 50 states, it's actually $25,000.
Gotcha.
So with the one state version, you get 3 user accounts included. Okay. So that's already enough for a small organization. And then for the 50 state version, you get 10 user accounts included.
Cool.
And then you also can purchase additional accounts at $300 per account.
Gotcha.
So
very reasonable. Yeah.
And how you go about? So typically, you would you can go to our website right now. You can select Get Fast Democracy Professional, and you can either make a payment now, but most people choose to actually see the platform and talk to us. So we typically set up a demonstration for them to show them around, to show them all the features we have, and see how we can work together and see how, or whether this can be a solution that works for them. So
just schedule a chance to do a demo and you're good
exactly,
to go.
yeah.
All right, cool. And if somebody just wants the free account, it's same process pretty much. And
the free account is you just sign up by yourself. So there is a button, sign up. It's free. So you click that button.
Easy enough.
And you sign up.
Well, I know probably at least a couple dozen people off the top of my head that would love to have the free account at the very least, right? Just to kind of track and make sure they know what their politicians are up to. That's always good, right? We are always excited about those people, and we also have the philosophy that if people love the free account, then that's also amazing. This gives us exposure. This helps us be easy to use. If people like you and me can use it, then professionals will also be able to use it. Yeah. So we strive to be transparent and to be easy to use. That's and our free customers help with that. And you never know. Sometimes those free customers would sign up and they might not be able to pay themselves, but they might know some amazing organizations. They introduce a nonprofit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. Well, that's a great, just kind of general service for the United States population, right? Because it's a lot of complicated stuff going on in government, and it's good to keep an eye on it, in a way that doesn't take days and days, right?
Exactly.
Very cool. All right, well, Anatolij, we got a couple minutes left, so we're going to switch gears just a little bit, which means Eric is joining us. And Eric's the founder of Bourbon Friday, and he has a unique bourbon he's selected. He's going to tell you why. So
I can get in here.
If you can get into the seat, go ahead.
Without pulling my mic out. There we go.
So what do we got this week?
We have Devil's River bourbon out of Texas. And the reason I brought this on is since we're talking about political action, and bourbon is a very heavily regulated product.
Sure.
Especially, we've seen here and talked a little bit about, actually in Missouri, we just had Missouri bourbon defined, and with Dave Weglars talked a little bit about it in the Missouri Distillers Guild. So a lot of people probably weren't aware that there was a tax break for craft spirits.
Oh, really?
For the last 2 years, and that was in danger of actually expiring.
Okay.
In Congress or in states?
In Congress.
In Congress.
Yeah.
Huh.
So basically, it would have increased their excise taxes by 400%.
Oh my.
Okay.
Yes. So a huge, very, very big difference, and basically, a lot of craft distillers were like scared because they've been like growing like crazy.
Yeah.
And especially in Texas. In the last 15 years, they went from 3 distilleries to over 150.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this was actually passed. It was passed in the House, but moved to the Senate and got stalled out. So even as late as November, there was no decision and nothing getting done. So the Texas Distilled Spirits Association and the Texas Whiskey Association took action. And they used a platform called Spirits United, which is a grassroots platform to sort of let not just connect industry professionals and consumers to let them know what is happening and to allow them to easily take action and contact their senators. And so Texas basically influenced this, and they passed it December 19th for another year extension. So and one of the people we have to thank for that is Mike Cameron, the founder of Devil's River Whiskey.
Oh, really?
He's also the president of the Texas Distilled Spirits Association.
Really? All right. Great tie-in. Sounds like they could use FastDemocracy.
Exactly. David Cameron, if you can hear us, we would love to talk to you.
Yeah. It sounds like they got one more year and then they're going to have to do the same thing again. So, fair enough. Well, we got a minute left, Eric. Do we got some events coming up this week?
We do. As we mentioned last week, Balsa, Square One, Venture School, Investment West Forum, those applications are all due. Some of them are due next week. Some of them are by the end of the month. So you definitely want to go check that out. Those are programs that you're interested in. On January 13th, on Monday, we have Loop to Loop Connection and Collaboration by the Audubon Associates at St. Louis Artworks. This is an afternoon event. They're going to be exploring like exciting initiatives in North City, so Delmar Loop north to the Wellston Loop. So definitely go check that out. And I think Delmar Divine is there, so Maxine Clark's going to be there talking as well.
Cool.
On January 15th, we have Bunker Brews St. Louis, Veterans and Innovation at the Scandalaire Center. And this is a monthly networking meetup for veterans, military spouses, and civilians with SMEs, investors, and thought leaders, really trying to make those connections to grow those businesses. Okay. And then Thursday, we of course have Venture Cafe. This is Venture Cafe Wellness Night. The highlights for that is Can Aging Be Reversed? The latest in anti-aging research and therapeutics. That's by WashU Med. Bunch of other programs. Go check that out. Also on Thursday, I found this out very interesting. At St. Louis Public Library, they're going to go and have a generative music basics workshop. So generative music is music created by AI. So they're sort of going over the basics of that, sort of telling you about the tools in that, and that's also on Thursday night. And then Friday, we are back here for Bourbon Friday. Bourbon Friday Show is on hiatus.
Taking a break, yep.
Taking a little break, but we're going to be here celebrating the 100th anniversary of Prohibition beginning.
Beginning, okay.
Beginning. It's when it started, January 17th. 1920.
Wow, okay.
So we're going to be celebrating that. Andrew and I are going to be sort of conducting a little bourbon tasting. We're going to have 6 different bourbons that survived Prohibition. We're going to be talking about how that actually happened.
Very cool.
And then also that night, very closely related, there is the Bathtub Gin and Bootleggers, St. Louis the Wild Prohibition Years, and that is by St. Louis Public Radio, and that's at the Schlafly Tap Room. So go check that out. And then if you have a St. Louis startup event, you can hit us up at events@bourbonfriday.show.
Very cool. And I guess we should clarify, if you're watching the full episode of this at 3 o'clock on Friday, that's actually happening today.
Yes.
Right?
That is correct.
If it's Friday right now, then you should just come on over.
You should come on over, have a full night of learning about Prohibition and celebrating it.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds like fun. Cool. Well, Eric, as always, thank you so much. Anatolij, thanks for joining us today. It was good talking. I appreciate it. And for those of you tuning in, we want to thank a few organizations for always supporting us. So thank you to Kovo for hosting both the event and the show every single week. Thank you to EQ for helping us distribute the show and sharing your audience. And of course, thank you to Ian Brown with Connect Marketing for always doing a great job behind the multiple cameras in this case. Always making us look good. So as Eric mentioned, we are going to be taking a few weeks of a break from the show. So this will be the last episode you'll see for at least a few weeks. We will be back. We are doing a whole bunch of revamping. We got a lot of exciting things in store for you. So we will see you in a few weeks. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Bourbon Friday Show, and we will see you again soon.
Hey, thanks for watching. We truly hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share this episode. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. To stay up to date, follow us on social. We are at Bourbon Fridays on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. See you next time.